mocking Mecca, Saudi festival sparks outrage. In the Riyadh season, touted as the world's largest winter entertainment event, has sparked a wave of backlash from Muslims worldwide for performance involving a cube-shaped structure that many perceived as a mockery of the Kaaba, Islam's holiest site. Critics expressed outrage over what they saw as a disrespectful appropriation of Muslim rituals, with one observer noting, quote, there are many structures globally, yet no one equates them to the Kaaba except when it's in Saudi Arabia. Compounding the controversy, the event coincides with escalating regional tensions, including Israel's war with Hamas and Hezbollah, drawing accusations of insensitivity. Despite the Saudi NGO, the Anti-Rumors Authority, clarifying that the structure was merely a four-mirrored wall display displaying digital visuals, the performance has deepened division over Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's reforms, seen by some as a betrayal of Saudi's role as the guardian of Islam's holiest sites. So this is very interesting. Let me give a bit more background. So a lot of this happened in the context of so they have this Riyadh season, obviously in Riyadh, and it's supposed to be this huge showcase of talent to, diversify Saudi, make Saudi a hub, international hub of entertainment and sports, blah blah blah. And so one of the
I think
events,
Riyadh, you mean, I think it's pronounced Riyadh. Riyadh.
Riyadh? Oh, excuse
Yes,
me. Okay.
no, no worries, no worries.
Riyadh.
Because in Persian, we call it Riyadh. In Arabic, we Riyadh. I think in English, it's Riyadh. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, that makes more sense. I'm just
yeah,
dyslexic.
no worries.
So, in
No worries.
Riyadh, thank you, Armin. Um,
No worries.
basically, they're trying to have this giant event. And one of the things that they were doing for this event was the Lebanese designer. Well, now I don't feel comfortable. I don't know how to pronounce anything anymore. Eli Saab. Is it Eli Saab?
Oh, I
It's a
don't know that one.
designer. He's a
I don't
Lebanese
know that one
designer.
either.
And
It's
so
okay if you don't know how
basically,
to pronounce things,
I'm
as
just
long as
making
we
a
all
joke.
know what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so basically, he was doing a giant fashion showcase called 1001 Nights of Eli Saab, which is supposed to be kind of a play on 1001 Arabian Nights.
Hmm.
And basically it's him doing his fashion show. And to be honest, the fashion looks stunning. And there was lots of other things with it. So there were Celine Dion came and did a performance as part of that. Jennifer Lopez came and did a performance as part of that. That caused a huge backlash in and of itself because Armin, as you can see in this photo here in our thumbnail, that part of
Beautiful.
the performance, was a little scantily clad for
Mhm.
some sensitivities. I mean, this is J Lo we're talking about. I don't know why people are surprised. And so
This is shocking, by the way.
and
The
and
fact that this is in Saudi is shocking.
oh no, we're gonna get into that. Just wait.
Mm.
So then they're basically a bunch of musical performances that were all packaged as part of this thing. And one of the musical performances involved this digital visualization cube structure that people automatically said started looking like the Kaaba. So what happened is, wait, let me pull this up. And I'm not going to play the music cuz I don't want to get copyright strikes. But okay,
Mm.
here's a footage of the cube and you see dancers circling around the cube, which also made people upset cuz that they make it seem like it's when you circumnavigate the Kaaba. So let's just watch and observe. Like so far, pretty standard digital display. I think that's Rosalia, the Spanish musician. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Um, Pretty standard visual display from a concert. I've seen this before, especially because
I
you
mean,
have an
it's a
audience that
platform
follows.
rising. Any platform rising at some point is going to look like a freaking cube. That's
Yeah, exactly. So
platforms
right
usually
here,
rise. Yeah,
it unveils the artist on the inside, you know, and then
yeah.
they all come dance around her, blah blah blah. So
I
when
mean,
you
Islam
see,
is. Yeah, go
go
on.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just said like they're basically claiming ownership over a shape. The cube shape. Apparently, they have copyrighted. Like Islam has. Like, yeah, the cube is ours. You cannot have cubes. But go on.
No, no. So part of what caused the problem is that if you go, wait, I gotta bump this video back a little bit. Okay. Basically, oh crap, stop. Basically, people took a screenshot of this, like
Yeah.
right here, about right here. See where it, because if
Yes.
you watch the whole video, you know that it's a visualization of like gold sparkles, water falling down the whole thing. But if you pause it, like right here, it looks
Yeah. Yeah.
more legitimately like the Kaaba. So this specific screenshot went
Mhm.
viral because they just took a still image of the sparkle waterfall, and they were like, and then people were freaking out. I can read this statement that a Turkish religious official gave, because it is kind of hilarious. Um, but yeah, this is kind of a what's the word I'm looking to shoehorn into a topic that I've been wanting to talk about with Armin for some
Mhm.
time, which is basically it's been very interesting for me to kind of observe the global Muslim Ummah reacting to what's happening in Saudi. Because Saudi is just trucking ahead. And then it's more the Muslims around the world who are freaking the F out. And I can come up with a few anecdotes about that. But Armin, like, can you explain that a bit to people who are not as familiar?
Well, I mean, Saudi is not doing this because they just have to. They have. They care. I mean, they have. They're desperate. They have seen the writing on the wall. Speaking of a Jewish Persian um, saying, but the writing on the wall is that oil prices are going to plummet at some point, and the Saudis have realized that okay, we're screwed. We have to diversify, and it's the Iranian regime that hasn't yet realized. I mean, they have realized that they just can't do anything about it because their structure is just so paralyzed that they can't even do anything about it, even if they realize that this is the future. But the Saudis are so desperate to become de-Islamized, to gain tourism and gain investment and increase business activity, and also to have a better relationship with the rest of the world, out of desperation. Because if once, guys, you have no idea, solar panels, their prices are having faster than ever before. Right, it's unbelievable how soon we are going to get to wind and solar being cheaper sources of energy than fossil fuels. We're getting there faster than a lot of people realize, and even faster than Saudi realize. And this is devastating for countries that, uh, for governments that most of their revenue comes from selling, gas and oil. So Saudis are desperate. They're like, hey, look, we're not the same. Please come here. Please spend money here. Please come invest here. And they're trying to signal. And also, the main problem right now is that the Islamic Republic is a major security issue for them. So this is what you're saying. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, yay, Saudi is reforming. This is great. But this is them panicking. What you're seeing is a sign of the Saudis panicking and doing everything they can to survive. That's what's happening, right? So again, what was your question? Did I even address your question? I think I forgot.
Well, basically, no, I'm more curious about what you see because you follow, especially on the English side of things, a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
like Muslim
infighting.
Dawa
Right.
bros and their reactions to this and kind of reactions from the Muslim world. Like maybe in
Yeah.
particular, do
So
you know Hakikaju?
no, yeah. So there's a whole group of Muslims. This has been a major source of tension between Muslims since the beginning, since the very first Inquisition, right? Between the Mutazilites and the caliphs. And it's very interesting because if you follow Islamic philosophy, you know, very starting 100 years after, within the first 100 years after Islam's inception until now, you can see how if you just only focus on the philosophy, you think that they're just talking about what is Islam, what is the nature of God, what is the nature of reality. And if you're only studying the philosophy, you would think that that's actually they're genuinely trying to figure these things out. But if you study the history of Islamic philosophy and then you put the Islamic politics, the history of Islamic politics, side by side with each other and study them next to each other, you could see that the philosophy that increases in demand and it gets more patronage by their rulers is the philosophy that is either the most politically convenient at the time, or it's the philosophy that is providing legitimacy to a rebellious faction against the authority at the time, right? So one major philosophical dispute in Islam is determinism and whether everything is God's will. And given that everything is God's will, what is the responsibility of a Muslim um, towards a ruler who is unjust or a ruler that is not following Islamic law themselves, a ruler that could be questioned or not whether they themselves are a Muslim, or a ruler that whatever they believe, whatever their own personal beliefs or shortcomings are they providing an environment where the people themselves could follow Islam? And all of this philosophy is now coming back, uh, re- uh, resurfacing, because the Islamic world, most a lot of the Islamic world is anti-Saudi government, right? However, there are some people who are defending the Saudi government because they're the rulers of a Muslim society, and you should not be challenging a ruler of a Muslim society, whatever their shortcomings are, as long as they're providing stability for people to be able to follow Islam. And this comes, and this is their. They argue for that because they have a lot of hadith supporting their claim, but then the people but a lot of Muslims around the world are angry with the Saudis because a lot of Muslims around the world have, even before Vision 2030, even before the Saudis were getting closer to Israel, a lot of people consider the Saudis to be not Muslim. The Saudi Arabia was a marriage between the House of Wahhab and the House of Saud, and the House of Saud, in the eyes of many Muslims around the world, was considered to be just a Western puppet, um, a money making machine that doesn't care about Islam at all, right? And these are just evil rulers that are not even Muslim. I mean, it goes back to Bin Laden, and and United States using Saudi Arabia to attack Saddam. This goes back into the first uh, war, the coalition, George Bush Senior. Like, this goes back then. This was the reason why Osama bin Laden turned against Saudi Arabia. This goes back uh, uh, far back, right? So so a lot of Muslims around the world considered they basically the takfir on Saudis, because they said, like, you allowed the infidels on the land of the prophet, because think about this. Al Qaeda was in Afghanistan trying to remove the kafir, the atheist Soviets from Afghanistan, which was in Islamic land. And then while they were there, they came from Saudi Arabia to Afghanistan because, like, this is insane. These infidels should not be on Islamic land, which is Afghanistan. But then while they were there, back at home, which is not an Islamic land, is the Islamic land, then the Saudis are allowing Americans to come on the land of the Prophet. So that was enough for them to be like, yeah, you guys are not Muslim. They take fear them, and they most of the many of the jihadists around the world, uh, you know, they went in jihad against the Saudis. They became enemy number one for a lot of people, right? So, but again, the people who are pro-Saudi, they have this hadith that backs their position Islamically. However, the people who are anti-Saudi, they call these madkhalis, they call them bootlickers. They say that their interpretation of hadith is wrong. And they say that they are basically being funded by the Saudis, because if you actually, I mean, they're not completely wrong, because the Saudi government tries to remove the ulama, the Islamic scholars that might want to challenge their authority, but they also support any Islamic school of thought that wants to have a pacifist approach. Like, they are trying to replace all the Islamic scholars that might want to challenge, want to encourage people to do jihad, to do war, to do rebellion. They prefer the kind of Salafis that are just say like, hey, let's just read the Quran and Hadith and stay home, right? So just like, let's invite people to Islam and do nothing political, right? And they do fund, like, for example, the Islamic school in Medina. A lot of Muslims around the world are consider anybody that comes from that school cannot be trusted anymore, because this Islamic school in Medina is now funded by Saudis. And if it's funded by Saudis, it's funded by Zionists, basically, because the Saudis are a puppet of Zionists. And any scholar that comes from that school cannot be trusted, because they're going to come out and they're going to say, hey, do not rock the boat, do not challenge authority, because Hadith shows that you should, whatever the shortcomings of the rulers are, you should just accept them the way they are, unless they make it difficult for you to practice Islam, right? And they call the other side, who is challenging the Islamic authority, they call them Khawarij, because the Khawarij were the original people who basically turned against Ali and Muawiyah, and basically takfired anybody who wasn't living a perfect Islamic life, announcing that they're not Muslim, right? So the argument that the other side, I think, would make, that would be a strong argument Islamically, that no, this is not the Khariji thing to do. We are correct to want to remove these people from power, is that one of the fundamental parts of Islam is to establish an Islamic caliphate, right? So you say that we should not challenge an Islamic authority, even if they have shortcomings Islamically, as long as they bring enough stability for us to be able to follow essential Islamic practices. Meaning that as long as I could do my prayer, as long as I could do my fasting, as long as I could do my Hajj, and the government is not stopping me, then I should not, whatever their shortcomings are, I should not challenge them. I should not try to break them down. And if I do that, I'm one of the Khawarij. However, what you're missing is that one of the main essential parts of Islam, which is the responsibility of every Muslim, is to try to bring an Islamic caliphate. And they are not letting us. They're stopping us, right? They are in our way. They are basically trying to maintain this nation states that are Western inventions, instead of bringing an Islamic caliphate. So they are standing in our way when it comes to practicing the essentials of Islam. And that means that standing up against them is not against Islamic hadith and stuff like that. So these are the arguments from all the sides. Anyways, I went for long. So sorry, we nerded it out a little bit here.
No, that's
Was
basically
that too
what I
much?
was looking for. So I think that's interesting, because if anyone has been kind of following what Daniel Hikikuju like talks about and tweets about, you'll see the threads of what Armin is talking about. Because, for example, I want to go find this tweet and I couldn't. I've been having a hard time finding people do commentary on this, because now everyone's tweeting about Syria. And Dan Hakikaju is just nonsense. But so basically he had screenshotted a tweet that was some person talking about, like, why should we be so worried about a nightclub in Riyadh, um when there are like nightclubs all around the world and we choose to not go to them, blah 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 blah. And he was roasting that person, being like, oh yeah, it totally doesn't matter that there are nightclubs in the in the land of the prophet. Like, what are you talking about? So people are getting very sensitive about that kind of thing. Um, as an
I mean, both
example,
sides have some points. Both sides,
yeah.
because during the Abbasid caliphates, for example, Christians were allowed to sell wine, right? So some people could be like, well, look at this. We have established that we can, as long as the caliph lets you do your prayer, do your Islamic thing, and the Christian could sell its wine. I mean, the Christian cannot advocate for, like, cannot promote Christianity, but they can sell wine to other Christians. So somebody says, like, well, we Islamically that should be allowed. But go on, sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I wanted to show this because I thought this was hysterical. So, Dili Hussein, this year's Riyadh entertainment season in Saudi Arabia had dancers, singles, and models performing in front of a black cube with an uncanny resemblance to the Holy Kaaba. And then this tweet. So funny. Who is this guy?
Perfect.
Yeah, so
That's
funny.
fantastic. Love
And then
it.
so I wanted an excuse to look at this. I found this Twitter account recently called Saudi Arabia's Reality, and it kind of plays into what we've been talking about the kind of people who are very disturbed about the direction that Saudi is heading. So like here is a video and it's kind of like expose style video. So here
Mm,
they're showing that there's a nightclub, really close to the Grand Mosque. Um,
yeah.
there's a nightclub in Mecca, you know.
Thank you.
Um, they didn't just strike at religious symbolism, but they crossed all the lines and violated the sanctity of one of the holiest places in the land of the two holy mosques. Um, and then they talked about, yeah, this thing again, and then oops, stop, stop. There was I think there was a second cube. I think there was a second cube.
The second cube is from so long ago, and a lot of people are
Yeah.
posting that as if this was also in Riyadh.
Oh, this one.
Oh,
This one.
oh, this one.
This is literally just a cube with mirrors. And then they were pissed because they're like circling the cube that have mirrors.
About
It's so that people can see all sides of the dresses. Like this isn't
right.
it's I don't know. It's
You
again because
cannot go around things because we
this
do
doesn't
that.
even look like the Kaaba at all. This is just a cube with mirrors.
Yes.
Oh, this one was also funny
Can
to me because this is a very, very famous stylist. And then they were like, oh my God, Saudi is having transgender people in the country, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like Law Law Roach is not trans. He just likes to wear a bust down wig. Like he is very gay, but he's not
men with
trans.
long hair are trans?
um so I went down a wormhole. Of this account the other day. I could do this for ages. Oh yeah, here they've blurred it out, but it's like a fire dancer, you know.
Ooh,
Wait,
nice.
she's gonna do a split.
That's actually
Boom, there's the split.
okay. Now I want to see the actual version because that looks, even with that blur, I can tell that that's actually hot. Damn it. Where's the actual video? This
See,
is
this
in
is why they
Saudi? I can see why
exactly.
they're
This
angry.
isn't
Go back. That's
this
happening
is
in Saudi. That girl with that like that. Oh my god,
yeah.
that's fantastic. That's actually I can still see the sexiness behind the blur.
Yeah, so it's a lot of behind the scenes looks at. Oh, this one made me I showed this one to Armin. This was hysterical to me. So here sorry, this one's too funny to me. It's just a dude hitting a gong and they're
Yeah.
like, "Look at these are unusual customs." It's literally just a dude hitting a gong. Okay. Hitting a gong
Oh,
and then look at the caption. Now
unusual
fully
custom.
open
It
to
looks
tourists,
pagan.
post the scene far removed from Saudi traditions. Here, someone strikes a gong, a practice common in Hinduism and Buddhism and other religions. It's
It's
not
pagan. It's
a
pagan. I
gong is
tell
not
you.
inherently a religious thing. Like, what?
What is this witchcraft?
Oh, yeah. So I've been finding this very amusing. Um,
Oh my god.
yeah, here are other nightclubs. Oh, look at the boys are out. The
Yeah,
boys
where
are
the
out. They're
girls
having a
go?
party.
Why are they? It's a sausage fest.
It is a sausage fest.
But this still is pretty good for Saudi that they're at
It
least
looks pretty fun.
dancing and having fun. It looks fun. Just need some more girls.
Hey, 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 hey. I like I like that they come in kind of doing like a little bit of a dance line. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they look cool. Yeah,
Just
look at them.
boys
Look at them.
being boys. Just
Look, look, it's just a few kilometers from where? From Mecca that's happening. Just a few kilometers from the
yeah.
holy sites. Yes.
So then a lot of these tweets are going after the official that's in charge of this whole thing. Oh, support for Ukraine. Oh, Armin, this is the other angle of the story that we didn't talk about. Look at the caption. In Saudi Arabia, support is extended to all nations affected by war except for the people of Gaza. Okay. See, this
Mm,
is a whole different backdrop to what was happening that I didn't even talk about. So, when it came to that fashion show specifically, of Eli Saab or whatever, people were roasting this, basically being like, "This is so inappropriate. How in the world could you ever do this while Gaza is at war? Blah 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 blah."
mm,
And to be honest, I mean, there's a part of me that gets why people are always going to have that reaction, but maybe it's just because I've gotten older. I've just come to terms with the fact that the world is just going to move on, like not really caring that much
yeah.
about the stuff that you care a lot about. Like the world doesn't stop, you know? I don't have that expectation
Mm.
that any conflict is gonna stop people from having a celebration one day. You know, people can be in, like, a war zone and couples will still have, like, stupid couple fights over stuff that isn't important, like, life moves on, you know what I mean? No matter how devastating, like, a certain thing is to you
I
personally.
mean,
I mean,
I
anyone
think life
anyone who's, like,
should
lost
move on.
someone close to you anyone who's like lost someone close to you like knows what that feels like on an individual scale, you know, like you just lost a loved one and you feel like the world's never going to be the same, but everything just keeps on going on, you know, like, so I can understand why people kind of have that instinct towards that reaction, but personally I don't. Yeah, John, like let people live their lives, goddamn. Like it's things are always going to go on, including things that like are devastating to me, but I don't have the expectation that the world should stop because of that. Um, but I do think it was very interesting because a lot of people were talking about how they had a sense of disappointment that this like legendary Lebanese designer wasn't doing the showcase in Lebanon. And because he was getting so much crap for it, he literally came out and gave a statement. He's like, "My first fashion show happened when back in the 80s." He's like, "Israel was invading Lebanon back then. That's when I did my first fashion show. Like, stop giving me this crap. This has been going on for a while. Like, life doesn't stop." I don't know. I don't think I'm articulating myself very well. What do you think?
Well, I think life, even for the sake of people who are suffering, life should move on. Okay, because when you see people having fun and partying and traveling, it's not just about them having fun. The world actually progresses faster if people continue to try to make best out of their lives. Right now, the system, the liberal world order that we are in, the capitalist markets that we are in, progress requires for each one of us to live the best life that we could. So caring for other people gets you to a point. Care actually stop living your lives and actually trying to help other people. It's actually the least productive way of trying to improve their lives. I'm not saying you shouldn't care, care, but you have to live your life to the fullest. And the beauty of the current system that we are in is that living your life to the fullest indirectly benefits other people. The economic progress and the prosperity, the self the spontaneous order of the markets and the liberal political system that we're in does it makes it so that it's not required of you to stop everything to help other people. You are actually in the helping other people by helping yourself. So I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
get into too much philosophy and economics right now, but this is how, I mean, we have been knowing that since Adam Smith. So this is not something, this is not just something I'm saying without evidence. The world has to move on so that the world progresses technologically, economically, and politically to the point where we have so much abundance of resources that fighting over oil, water, energy, computing power becomes irrelevant because we are just living in an age of abundance. So keep living your lives, care for other people, but don't make that stop you from living your life to the fullest.
No, here's my stance. Like, if you are so disturbed by some event or conflict that you don't feel like you can go enjoy something, like you don't feel like it's, or maybe you feel like it's not appropriate for you to be celebrating and enjoying while other people are suffering in XYZ situation, that's okay. And like you can go make that decision for yourself. But the idea that everyone else should feel the same way, or that you could even go out of your way to prevent other people from experiencing enjoyment or celebration because of XYZ, I think is not helpful at all. So I have anecdotal story of during the Massa uprising in 2022, and I was living in Vienna. Like there was some instance where there was a local nightclub, like a local Persian nightclub. And I remember that people went there and like protested and were like shouting at and shaming the people that were going to that nightclub because of what was happening back in Iran. And I didn't see that as super productive. I'm like, the, you have no idea. For all you know, the people that are enjoying that Persian night at the nightclub could be out in the street doing like community organizing and helping do like protests or raising awareness in their like workplace or doing other political organizing, and then they're just doing this to try to raise their spirits and raise their morale. You know what I mean? But here you are like shaming them, like, how dare you have a night of fun while people are back home suffering? I can understand why people would have that kind of reaction, but for people to be able to like move on and just also get through the day, like you need to have something that you can enjoy. I think it's part of like resilience in a sense. And I see that nowadays with a lot of pro Palestine stuff, where now demonstrators are going out of their way to shut down events that the public at large enjoys. Like, at least in the situation that I talked about, that was kind of like a specific inter-community thing. But like recently, we had like the Thanksgiving parades being shut down by activists who are blocking everything. So now the entire public trying to go enjoy an event for a holiday that has nothing to do with people suffering in a different part of the world are now having their day and their celebration and the time they spend enjoying with their family as a way to connect ruined because you want to stop everything and make a political statement. I just don't think that kind of thing is it's not productive. And actually, well, I mean, specifically that pro-Palestine thing at the Macy's parade is going to make people hate you and your movement and everything you talk about even more. So it's even it's not even politically expedient on that front. Um but I don't know, Armin, what am I off? Because a lot of people think that that's totally not okay, that you can be enjoying yourself and celebrating while people are back home suffering. Um they think it's like completely inappropriate. But my argument is it's like, well, if you that's a personal choice that you're making. It's not fair for you to stop or shame other people for doing that. Like if people, I don't know, are in the Iranian context, like they have a hard time celebrating Yalda when people are suffering, but people still need that moment to feel joy of the holidays, blah blah blah. I think that's important to help people get through the day and have some morale to keep going. Um, I don't know.
Well,
What do you think?
uh, well, I know, because I think the whole point of all of this is what? Okay, what's the whole point of us struggling to figure out what are the right ideas and what are the wrong ideas? The whole point is women, life, freedom, or Am Israel Kai. The whole point is to live. Okay, if we don't, it's when you are living your life to the fullest, not only you're contributing to this order that makes everyone's lives better, you're also showing what's the point of this struggle. Like if you stop living because of these disasters, what is the point of us addressing these disasters and these tragedies if we are not l- living what uh, we are not living the destination, we are not exercising what the whole point of the struggle is for. Do you understand what I mean? Like that's the point. Like if we are fighting for people in Israel, in Iran, in Palestine, in Saudi Arabia, in Ukraine, whatever, then if we stop living our lives because we care for them, then they have lost and we have lost as well. We are trying to we have to live the best life that we can, because the whole point is to bring the entire world to living the best. We are on team life, so we have to do what we are preaching. Like we have to show you have to show what that looks like. Right, you have to show, like, or else if you abandon living properly for the sake of others, then what are we all moving towards too? Like they are fighting to become as miserable as you are. You have to provide a model or an inspiration, something to look forward to. You have to show when you are living your best life, you're also showing to the part of the world that has fallen behind why your ideas are better. If you are miserable, then how are you a source of inspiration? If we're showing like the Western liberal model is the best model, we have to this is why when Western liberal countries are being taken over by, in some parts by wokeism or Islamism, it's not just a tragedy for those countries, it's also a tragedy for the countries who have fallen behind, because then they become disappointed. They lose hope that, oh, look at the fate of these countries that are so-called ahead of us. So even there they are having problems with Islam, so there's no hope for anybody. So we have to actually try to live the best lives in these countries to provide a roadmap, and it's basically like living in the two sides of the Berlin Wall. Why did the Berlin Wall collapse? Okay, so you feel like it because the west side of the Berlin Wall was preaching better ideas to the east side of the Berlin Wall? No, it was because the west side of the Berlin Wall was living a better life. Okay, so you're like, oh, we should stop living our best lives. We should stop being happy. Well, the reason the Berlin Wall fell is because the East Side saw the West Side and we're like, yeah, we want that. We want that. So you're actually doing active. You're indirectly doing activism if you're living a healthy life, if you're living a happy life, if you're on team life, if you're partying, if you're enjoying, if you're going hiking. You're actually, even if you don't want to, in a more advanced country, if you are happy, your happiness, your superior way of life is by itself activism. Anyways, that's my I mean, if you want to be on team life, then live a good life. That's what I'm saying,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, but it's not an
Also,
entirely selfish pursuit. You can still go do other things to make a difference and raise awareness about any cause or suffering or misery
yeah,
that you care about. It's just
I don't see
don't
anything wrong with selfishness. I
demonize
think
your own
caring is
joy.
yes, and and I see no problem with selfishness. I think caring for other people also comes from selfishness. We get joy out of caring for other people, so everything is selfish. Even caring for other people is selfish. Anyways, I don't want to get too philosophical here. I just want to make it clear that if Muslims are claiming the cube, then I declare the sphere for atheists. Okay,
Mm,
I suggest Christians, because Christians are triangle because of the
mm,
Trinity. So if
mhm.
we want to do a 3D version of that, because we're doing 3D, right? They didn't claim the square; they claimed the cube. So because atheists are usually associated with the circle, so I'm going to claim the sphere. And because Christianity is usually associated with triangle, I suggest that the Christians, before somebody else takes it, come and declare a pyramid, the 3D version of a triangle. And I was looking for what Jews can declare, and Jews have the Star of David, but the Star of David is not 3D. So I looked at the 3D version of what the
Oh,
Star of
it's
David
freaking
would look
cool.
like. Yeah, it's called a stellalted octa I have no idea. I don't know how to pronounce this. I will
I think
just
you
look
just
it.
said a spell.
This is what it looks. This is the 3D version of the Star of David. How do
Uh-huh.
you pronounce this?
Stellated
It's stellat.
octahedron.
Yeah, so I think the Jews have to claim this because as a 3D shape, because it's basically two pyramids smashed into each other.
Oh,
So
that's
I think
cool.
the Jews, yeah, I think the Jews should claim that before it's
Uh-huh.
too late. Given that I mean they took the cube from us, so we need
I
to
know.
copyright. No, not copyright. We need to trademark each one of. It's not copyright. It's trademark. We need to trademark these shapes from us before they take the rest of it. Also, oh, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you to
Mm.
scroll down so we could go through the social media posts that D found us.
Before we do that, can I show you a video of people partying? Like when all of this was happening, I could show you people either going to this concert or leaving from the concert. The video from Saudi Arabia from people celebrating because they had. It's very interesting because it's a Saudi flag that says "La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah" on it, meaning there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. And you can see, like, let me just put it, and then after that we go to these comments. Look at this. It's so cool. Can we look?
Oh no,
No, we
this is
can't.
National Day. That's a different day.
Oh, really? I thought they're
Yeah.
going to. But anyways, but it's a celebration. It just shows the different attitudes that people are having. Like this is we like. I'm still not used to seeing images like this from Saudi Arabia. But let's watch this.
تعالوا جربوا معايا كيف يكون الاحتفال الوطني في السعودية.
Look at them.
So this is supposed to be like their version of 4th of July, basically.
I'm still not used to seeing this celebratory girl without a hijab with the Saudi flag wrapped around her. Like this is weird for me. This is weird.
Wait, what about the music? Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the music. But it was celebratory. I just wanted to see it. This is
Yeah, no,
cool.
I kind of got a little bit into Saudi music recently, and a bunch of like popular artists were hired to make songs for Saudi Day. And I'm like, this looks like a good time. Good for them.
Yeah. Look at these girls, like without their hijab and driving and having fun. This is cool. Whoa, look at that. That is weird and good. I mean, weird in a good way. I know this has been happening for a while. I still haven't gotten used to seeing videos like this coming from Saudi. This is like these people used to get beaten. I mean, just a few years ago, this girl would have been beaten with a stick.
It looks fun. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Anyways, imagine that with music. I don't know if it was copyrighted. Okay, so let's go scroll down. Let me know how far do you want to
Yeah,
go.
so so thank you to D, our editor D, for finding some reactions on social media. So this person is Saudi disgraced Islam with this. This is the opening of Riyadh's, excuse me, yeah, Riyadh's entertainment season in Saudi Arabia this year. They had a model of the holy Kaaba where they displayed images of singers and dancers. For the last time, it's not the Kaaba. Like, I know that they
Okay.
think that
Oh, look at
the
this.
house of,
This
yeah,
community
exactly,
note.
the community notes, this is not a representation of the Kaaba.
Just a normal show. Yeah. I mean, what do you think will happen when a platform rises and there's things on the side? Like this happens in shows all the time. Like I saw it in Vancouver when we went to see a show. Anyways,
Sure.
it was maybe it
So
was
this one
Kaaba
is
all the
funny.
time. They should have the meme that with the spaceman with the gun, like because they have had tubes and yeah, like was it all like is this the Kaaba? And then the guy,
It
it
always
always has
was.
been. You know?
It always has been. So this one is
Right.
funny because there were all these articles that were trying to portray like the audience wasn't into it and they were so disgusted or whatever. So as an example of this, they took footage of J-Lo dancing, which they obviously blurred out
Mhm.
her outfit, and in the background there is one guy who's on his phone and they're like, look, people are looking down, looking away from their phone, they're not paying attention, they're disgusted, they're not engaging on purpose, they're refusing, blah blah blah. And it's literally always one video of the same guy that they continually pause on for less than 15 seconds to show that he's not paying attention. That's what they have one guy.
One guy. So I mean, people look at their phones sometimes in a concert. But I mean, the guy like this. These tickets are not cheap, by the way. Especially that seat. I mean, I know. I went to a concert. I went to Katy Perry's concert, and we had a front row seat, and that shit is expensive. Okay, so
Mhm.
I don't think he spent so much money to be on a front row seat just to make a statement by looking 5 seconds at his phone. I mean, anybody who has went to a concert knows that sometimes you look at your phone like you're not like glued to like I don't
I'm sure
know.
J-Lo
Maybe
was shaken. Shaken.
yes. Maybe he just took a picture and he's like making a story like, "Hey guys, look where I am." I don't know. Wow. He spent so much money paying for this concert just to make a statement
Yeah,
like by looking at his phone.
disgusted by this whore. Oh, and then this was the same tweet by Billy Hussein, but scroll down. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then this person, what a mockery. God will punish them severely for this.
Wow.
I feel
Okay.
like it's a little overblown. I mean,
Jeez
I
Louise.
understand why
Cool.
people, yeah, and then here's another reaction. This person saying they call themselves Muslim. That is a big shame. It is going to be interesting
Okay,
to see
cool.
what happens over the years. You know, these are the guardians of the two holy mosques. It is
Bro.
it is pretty wild.
I'm trying to say, poor J Lo must be devastated.
Yeah.
By the way, something isn't J Lo like 50 something years old? She looks
Yeah.
freaking good for 50. Holy crap! Like, look,
Well,
she
if
looks
you
like a 20-year-old woman, and she's 50 something. That's
well, I
amazing.
mean, who knows how many tens of thousands of dollars have gone into maintaining that?
I don't think so. I
Um,
think it's just living a healthy life. But
that's not true. That's obviously not
it's true.
true.
Hey, I haven't. People tell me I look 25. I'm 41. I haven't spent tens of thousands of dollars. So see, it
No,
can be done.
Armin, for yourself, sure, you're looking great. I'm not going to take that from you. I'm just saying, specifically with J Lo, it is not that hard to figure out that she's had work done. Okay,
Okay,
it's
fine.
not
I'm
rocket
just saying
science
it's not necessary. Okay.
if you know what to look for. And that's
Okay.
no hate. I'm just saying. Um,
Yes. But that was
so we got a bunch of
see,
super
people are
chats.
shocked. They see, people are saying people are 41. Yes, I'm 41. Actually, in a few days, I'm gonna be 41.
Well, and
So
I mean, you still have a month, okay? You got a month almost.
yes, no, 25, 24 days, 25 days. Yes. See, people are shocked. See, yeah.
Hey, I mean,
Okay.
bask in it, my friend.
Wait, what? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Um, okay, so let's go through the super chats we got. Dan Dave
Oh,
celebrating his membership for 14 months. Thank you, Dan. Saying Kaaba will one day be a gentleman's club. Well, no, our plan, because Armin and I have plans that we've designated,
yes.
is for that to be the center of the Pride Parade. So as long as it's okay with having a dual purpose gentlemen's club Pride Parade Center, we'll be okay.
I don't think it will be. I think it would be a museum slash event area. It would be kind of like a tourism hub that sometimes we will have events in it, like Halloween. Like if it's a Pride Month, we will have a Pride. Like we will change the black drapes into LGBT flag, and we will have a gay Pride parade there. But it will be kind of like what the Notre Dame Cathedral is in Paris. That, by the way, congratulations to the people of France that they just rebuilt it. It's now open. So basically, it's more of a tourism hub than a worship area of worship. That's what I think it will happen to the Kaaba at some point.
Okay, Dan gave a super chat that I think has to be a troll. Why are Jews not
Yes.
offended by this Kaaba festival? Did Abraham not build the Kaaba? Oh, okay, it is a troll. But somehow Jews don't seem to give a damn. Dan gave another super chat saying Riyadh is becoming the next Las Vegas. Well, they don't have gambling there yet.
Yes, not yet. They'll probably call it something else once they do. Just like they call Halloween. I don't know. What did they call Halloween when they had Halloween?
They have a
They didn't
different
call it
name for
Halloween.
Halloween?
Yeah, they just called it like Scary Day or something like that, even though it was the same day as Halloween, but they didn't call it Halloween.
Spooky Day. I don't know.
Spooky Day.
Or like October Festival, but not the beer
Yeah.
kind.
Yes. People are
Sorgu
saying
gave us
Astaghfirullah. Sorry. Astaghfirullah. All right, go on.
Sorgu gave a super chat. Thank you, Sorgu. Saying there's always bad stuff in the world. Fun is therapy. Trying to stop fun so that everyone can be miserable as you doesn't help at all. This is very true. This is very true. Life will always move on no matter how much pain or suffering you or anyone else is in. And we can dislike it sometimes, but that's them's the breaks. David the Goliath gave a super chat saying, Armin, do Iranian extremist Muslims consider pre-Islamic Zoroastrian Persians to be Islamic ignorance, or I'm not sure how to pronounce Jahiliyyah?
Jahiliyyah.
Jahiliyyah.
Jahiliyyah means ignorance. So yes and no. Okay, so obviously, some Muslims consider Zarathustra or the Zoroastrian prophet to be a genuine Muslim prophet, which is some other Muslims would question that. However, obviously, just like all other, even if you consider Zarathustra, so Ahlul, considering the Zoroastrian religion to be one of the Ahlul Kitab religions is something that Muslims disagree with, because a lot of people consider the people of the book are only Abrahamic religions, and Zoroastrianism doesn't cover that. But again, when the Arabs invaded Persia, the Persian Empire, if they want to consider Zoroastrianism to be a non people of the book religion, then they had to massacre everybody and kill so many people like they did in India, and they couldn't afford to do that. So, given that Zoroastrians had a book, there were some arguments that okay, these people are of the book as well, and they're not mushrikeen, they're not idol worshippers or whatever. But some people are saying no, that's bullshit. These are fire worshippers. I mean, fire worshippers is not an accurate way of describing Zoroastrianism, but some Muslims will consider them to be pagans, not a part of the Abrahamic faith. However, even whatever you consider Zoroastrianism to be, one of the people of the book or not, Ahlul Kitab or not, eventually, whatever prophet that Islam recognizes as a true prophet, eventually the people who followed them were corrupted and they steered away from the Islamic path. So, for example, Moses is considered to be a Muslim, Jesus is considered to be a Muslim, I don't know, Adam is considered to be a Muslim, David is considered to be a Muslim, but the people steered away from their teachings and they became corrupt. So yes, pre-Islamic Iranians are considered to be, you know, Jahil, and then the Muslims came and basically free them from their ignorance. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.